M0FXB Hamtech, welcome back to my Mazzy dog walks. So yeah, woolly hat's back on because the weather has gone very cool in the UK, southwest. So anyway, Mazzy doesn't mind, looking for another ball or stick as ever. So let's talk CB radio and what got us into CB radio. Many, I would say nearly every ham I've ever met had a CB. Most started on CB. Some didn't, but many did. So I'll just talk by my personal experiences. So as a very young kid, obviously you didn't have mobile phones, so the thought of communicating wirelessly with someone was a very cool thought. And we would see it on the TV shows and in war films, security talking wirelessly with their big giant walkie-talkies. So that always appealed to me, and as a very young man, I think I was about 11, they started selling some of these walkie-talkies at a price that kids can afford, and me and my brother, who is licensed, literally saved up our dinner money, lunch money that we used at school, our father gave us, to club together and buy a couple of walkie-talkies. And the range was really bad, it was milliwatts, and we would go on the beach, line of sight, and stand about 50 yards apart and talk and love every minute of it. And there's actually a photograph of me doing this on my QRZ. So there's the bug with the TV shows. And then eventually, when I was about 14, a lot of AM CBs started coming into the UK. A lot, and I can't remember the makes and models because they were all kinds of makes and models. So these were AM. There was no even talk about FM legal CB. It was all AM illegal stuff, and I didn't have one. And basically I would go to the fairgrounds, quite a few fairgrounds here, and they would have these games where you could win prizes, and they started loading up the counters with lots of very cool looking CBs of all makes, and they didn't mind that they were illegal because it still made a lot of people think, oh, I want to win that and take it home and have a CB. So there was basically a massive flood of CB radios coming into the UK AM. Everyone was buying them because it was almost like everyone buying a mobile phone now. Suddenly we could talk to our friend next door, even if they were close. They didn't have to be far, wirelessly, and it was something we couldn't do normally. We had wired telephones. We had to dial a number, and if we used the phone, we had to ask for permission from our parents. So this was very cool, and it was a one-off expense back in those days, about 50 quid, £50. So I went around my friend's house and he had one, yeah? And when I saw him using it and they were chatting and it was busy, it wasn't like the way CB went after a few years. It was busy, yeah? Every channel full, 40, 80 channels, 120, upper sideband, lower sideband, AM, FM. And you have the multi-mode radios, and so it was busy. So there's me hooked. So eventually me and my brother managed to find a TriStar. I think it was 727, and it had a conversion where it could flick down another 40 channels that was already built in, been modified. So we loved it, and we would stay up late, 2-3 in the morning on a school night, playing around with our CB radio, which is not good for our education, but great fun. And in those days you had the rallies where everyone met up and then different locations, and everyone was super friendly, and it lasted a good year. So it was a real part of sort of growing up really for me, because I was at that age, 14, 15, that sort of age where you start to explore the world a bit independently. And so having the CB was really cool. I made so many good friends, had such good laughs with people and all the different characters of all kinds. And then so from that, eventually the UK announced that they were going to bring out some new CBs, and 40 channel CBs, and they were around, I don't know, they were about £70, and they were in all the shops, all the main shops, the proper shops, not backstreet shops, and they sold thousands and thousands and thousands all around, and everyone had one, got one for Christmas. But what happened then? The bands were flooded with people who got bored very quick, and when they got bored, what did they do? take the mick out of everyone, call people names, and so that really pretty much changed the game forever. Yeah, I'm not saying it's like that now, because all those people who haven't got CBs anymore, and you'll find that now that most of the CBers now are hardcore people that just love using CBs around the world, and they're a very useful tool for farmers, industry, for businesses. Buy a CB, 40 quid, 30 quid. We can talk to all the drivers, and so it ends up being a good tool as well. And that's it. And then I'll just finish off by saying the reason I got into ham radio was because after having a few kids, I used to get bored at home, and I was thinking, well, what do I enjoy? Oh, I used to enjoy CB. So I went into a second-hand shop looking for a CB, and I saw a Yaesu 101ZD, and a few weeks later a Yaesu 817. And I took them home and then just started tinkering, and then I realised I needed a license. I actually took my 3 licenses in 1 year. So to M3 or M6 was it? M3 FXB, 20 FXB, and then M0 FXB, because I tend to be like that. If I'm into something, I'll be really into it for a few months, and then it tapers off. So whilst I was really into it and passionate about it, I took all those licenses, and yeah, of course I passed. So that's it really. That's my CB story. And the YouTube channel was literally just me trying to remember how to program my own radios. It was never intended that anyone would ever really watch these videos. It was just for me. Oh, I've forgotten how to use my complicated Anytone or Retevis RT3S type radio. Bye for now, 7.3.